Digital Marketing Radio, episode 137. Learning from your competitors' pay-per-click advertising campaigns.
DigitalMarketingRadio.com.
Today's episode is brought to you by Aweber. Build your email list, engage your subscribers, do email the right way. I've arranged a special deal for all Digital Marketing Radio listeners, and that's a 60-day free trial with the email marketing software provider I use, Aweber. Lock in your 60-day free trial, plus view a video that I've recorded on the 3 reasons why I use their service at aweber.com/DMR. So just go to aweber.com/DMR to get started today.
The big interview with David Bain.
I'm David Bain, and this is Digital Marketing Radio, weekly interviews with online marketing gurus. Catch up with all the previous episodes at digitalmarketingradio.com. Now, today I'm joined by a tech entrepreneur who is a passionate builder of SaaS products that solve real-world problems. He's the founder of a company that monitors Google, Bing, Yahoo, text ads and trends, and offers PPC competitor insight. Welcome to DMR, Leon Krishnayana.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
Well, great to have you here, Leon. Yeah, thanks for coming on. Well, you can find Leon over at ispionage.com. I'll make sure there'll be links to that over the show notes at digitalmarketingradio.com. So, Leon, is it essential for every business that runs PPC ads to be analyzing their competitors' ads as well?
Yes, I think so. And we believe that, first of all, before we do that, right, I just want to make sure that our audience are going to be on the same page with us, is that, Google AdWords is probably one of the most converting channel out there, digital marketing channels, right? And if you see the data, the statistic, Google AdWords has about 2 to 5% click-through rate as compared to Facebook, which is probably about 0.1 to 0.5% CTR. And then the average of conversion of Google AdWords is somewhat like 5.6%. And Facebook is pretty low on that. So I think it's very important for any digital marketers, I think, to really realize that, as cool as Facebook or any other social media out there, it has a different type of function as Google AdWords or search. Facebook is good to create awareness when people are not ready to buy or not even aware of your product. Then they can see your ads and create an awareness. Google AdWords in the meantime is that when people already try to search for a solution, they type in those keywords into Google search bar and see your ads and come to your site, and it's much more ready to convert, right? And the reason that I mention all this is that because of that, a lot of internet marketers, advanced marketers, essentially, they know that Google AdWords is the most converting channels, and they bid the keywords on the keywords that pretty much similar to the keywords that your business has, and it actually bids up the cost per click. So Google cost per click is pretty much a lot more expensive than Facebook's ads, essentially, right? Now, this is where I think you need to really pay attention on who your competitors are on Google AdWords. Because a lot of people who don't understand about Google AdWords, when they start doing Google AdWords, they just doing it, and then they try it for a while, and then it didn't work out. And then they started to, it's like, okay, this channel just didn't work out. But in reality is that it will work out if they do the proper optimization, right? So just step back a little bit on how normally Google AdWords advertiser work is that you need to have a product first of all, and then you wrap it with an offer, a free trial or a cheap price or whatever, introduction price, and then you wrap it up again with your landing page or your websites, which is pretty much, this is the essential of your business block, right? Business building block. And then after that, you go to Google AdWords, you start compiling the keyword list, and then start segmenting it, and then creating ad copies for those segments of keyword list, basically a tightly knit keyword and ad copies, and then you launch those campaigns. And then after that, you wait for a week, maybe a month, or about maybe even more to get the data, and then start optimizing those keywords and ad copies, right? And the optimization process normally goes like, you add more keywords, you trim more keywords, you delete those keywords, and then you adjust the bid on those keywords. You also adjust the ad copies, you adjust your offers. Essentially, those are the optimization process that needs to be done in kind of like any campaign, but specifically in Google AdWords. Why? Because AdWords is pretty expensive, so you got to be able to bear the costs of doing so, right?
Okay. So what you're basically saying is that pay-per-click adverts on Google AdWords are a lot more expensive than they used to be, are more expensive than Facebook.
Yes.
It's still possible to be successful on there, but you have to make sure that you're optimizing everything that you're doing in order to make sure that you're making money.
Correct. Now, that's where, why you need to learn from your competitors. Because in that process, a lot of people just give up right away, but they already bit the keyword, the CPC up in a way for everybody, including yourself, right? So you need to really, first of all, identify who is the good advertisers in Google AdWords, right? The one that has done the optimization, the one that has the budget to actually doing the optimization. And then from then, you can really start learning about the strategy, the keyword, the ad copies, and the offers itself. And then you can start coming up with your own strategy based on that. I'm not saying that you have to do it because you need to copy them, but you really need to understand how you can actually go against these guys. The one that has all the budget and an expertise to actually make this kind of optimization. But if once you understand the whole layout of that, then you can start thinking, okay, how can I use an ad copy that stands out more than anyone else? How can I come up with an offer that can be, that can stand out against the other competitors like that? So I think that is the need of doing this optimization. Like learning from competitors, because that way you will cut all the learning curve that could be very expensive if you don't do it, if you just go at it and then without having any proper planning or research done in previous that.
Okay, so you can obviously, through the software that you offer, review quite quickly which competitors are ranking quite well for the keywords that you want to be targeting, and have a look to see what kind of copy they use in terms of their ads as well. But in terms of next stages after that, it's not obviously what you want to do is what you don't want to do is actually copy their ads directly.
Correct.
So what is the next stage? How do you actually get to the stage where you've got brilliant copy yourself? Because there seems to be a little bit of a gap between reviewing someone's ad and having a great ad yourself.
Yes. So for example, like if you go to Google and then you type in a CRM software, right? And you see everybody is using the word CRM software on the headline, So you see like a lot of the people are using that, and it may be for a reason, but you can be you can be different. You can try to think that, what is CRM stands for, like customer relation management. Maybe you can expand on that. Maybe you can change the ad copy instead of just three lines of the body copy. You can just use one body copy, like try for free or something like that. But ad copy itself is, I think, is just a small part of the whole Google AdWords equation, because at the end of the day, what matters is the keywords and the landing page more, I would say, because the landing page is the one that, different from one company to another, and the offers and the user experience is going to be different. So you need to be able to, kind of like get a sense like, okay, how my offer stands up against the others. Remember, your prospect is just 2 clicks away to see what other competitors are doing, So you need to understand that part, the offer of your product itself. So like, if nobody's doing the free trial, maybe you want to do free trial. If everybody is doing free trial, then you might want to do something like, hey, call us for a demo or something like that. Just be different in
So
that
would
part.
you say that most businesses maybe make a mistake by analyzing their competitors' ads, but not following through and analyzing their competitors' landing pages?
I think so, yeah, because that's
That's
the
interesting.
biggest thing. In the ad copy level, you can do so much. From my research, essentially, I talked to some of the users when they want to start comparing solutions, right? They see, for example, like that CRM software. They see Zoho, they see Salesforce, they see Infusionsoft, like that. So they just click, 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 click. So on the ad copy level, there will be a limit where you stand out, or you cannot be any different anymore, because everybody's saying that. But on the landing page itself, those are the one that is pretty unique, I think, between the offer, between Salesforce, the Zoho, and the rest. Those are the one that you really want to capture the most, I think.
Right. Okay. And obviously, Google started out, 10 years ago or so with AdWords, and they started off with a fairly basic product where you could just select the title, description, and display URL on the actual landing page. But now they've got so many extra things like ad extensions. You can
Yes.
select the actual time of day, the specific type of users you want to be targeting as well. Can you suggest 2 or 3 things to look at as part of that ad buying process that businesses really, really need to consider?
You mean, what are the additional extension that they really need to
Yeah,
consider,
yeah.
like
Well,
that? Yeah.
probably,
Okay.
probably. What are the most important additional
Yeah.
considerations that businesses are missing out on? But if they do actually spend a little bit of time to actually get to know and implement as part of their ad
Yep. Yep.
campaign, it could make a big difference.
Yeah. I think it depends on the type of business. If you're a local business or you're a service business, it's good to have to put like phone number, so call extension, as well as the like location extension, so that you can put in your address. And the reason being that you're gonna take more spaces than your competitors, like that, right? If you're like in a software business, or any like lead gen that is nationwide, I think the review extension is one of the most powerful thing, because you see the stars, and Google doesn't make it easy for anyone to come up with the review extension. So you have to be on you have to have like 30 reviews on the select trusted review site by Google. So like if you can get those 30 reviews or testimonials on those websites, you can start putting that star, I mean, what do you call that, the stars rating in on your Google ads again, so that, I think, the review extension is really powerful, because once you get over that, it's going to be hard for your competitors to collect that 30 reviews for themselves.
Okay, got a question here in the chat for repeats listeners. We're recording this live on Blab, and the question is, what about straight direct response marketing? What are the top drivers in response when it comes to PPC? So I would imagine that means actually in terms of call to action on the landing page. I would think. Are there any more effective common strategies that you're seeing nowadays?
For the direct, I think the easiest way is to get keyword, I mean, not keyword, the email address, right?
Right.
So the best way is what I see, and we monitor thousands of landing pages, and the one that seems to be most popular these days by the bigger clients. I mean, the bigger agents, websites that has sophisticated marketing automation is really they're trying to get the email address as soon as they can. They by offering an email, an ebook, or white paper, or any of the guide, anything that is downloadable to kind of like get the audience, the visitors' email addresses like that. I think that's the biggest, the most powerful one.
Okay, and obviously the next stage after that is marketing automation and being as defined as possible in terms of who that customer is and trying tailoring a personalized message for them as well.
Yeah.
But again, that leads you into other forms of digital marketing. But in relation to paid advertising, again, is paid or pay-per-click advertising not maybe quite as popular as it once was? Are we seeing Google embrace things like CPM and video advertising? And are we going to have to look at other paid advertising models online a little bit more in the future?
I think the biggest one is the biggest competitors of like Google AdWords advertising is Facebook and YouTube, because those are the most commonly channel used by users, right? But in terms of like Google AdWords itself, I don't think it's gonna go away anytime soon, because it's a different type of channels. Like when you consume your media content, basically your content via Facebook or Google or YouTube, it's not that you're looking for YouTube, maybe a little bit, but specifically on Facebook, I don't normally type in what I'm looking for in Facebook search. I just consume whatever it's presented to me on that, right? So it's more for like awareness level. But for in terms of finding solutions, so far I have seen no alternatives than Google AdWords, than search, to actually find out about, like if you were looking for some specific answers, you probably can use it, or you use it to different devices. I use it more in the mobile, more on a desktop maybe. But in terms of the channels, I think it's still going to be on, using Google AdWords, still going to be there for that particular purpose, like searching for solutions.
And in terms of the future of different types of search engines, do you think it's likely we might see a significant competitor to Google, might Bing or Yahoo, or even a smaller player come up and actually take more of the search market share in the future?
At this point, I don't think so, because of the brand power of Google. Like unless they can come up with totally significantly different way of doing it from the way Google does it, then they are competing against a brand name that is already part of the vocabulary of people. Like people use it, like just Google it. Nobody says like just Yahoo it or just Bing it like that, right? So it's part of it's maybe the technology and the result. I would say if I compare it apple to apple, maybe they're not that much different, between Google search result and Bing search result, but it's just already in program in people's mind that you just for search you use Google, for anything else like in the majority of the users and the planet, I would say that's the way it is.
It's funny you used the word Apple there, because you never know, Apple might actually bring out their own proper search engine at some point in the future, and then you might be comparing Google with Apple in the future.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Well, I reckon just about takes us to the first section of the discussion here. So coming up, we're going to be learning about the one piece of software that Leon couldn't be without. But first of all, I want to say a big thank you to Oren Greenberg. Oren was actually a guest on number 48, episode 48 of Digital Marketing Radio. And that topic was actually SEO techniques in 2014. Can you believe it? We're already in 2016. The reason I mention Oren, you should go back and listen to that episode, is Oren actually wrote a nice review in iTunes just last week saying, David's evident passion for digital is a strong driving force in bringing alive what is rapidly changing industry with rich insights from a broad mix of experts. Highly engaging and interesting content. Warmly recommended. But really appreciate that, Oren. It's great to get good reviews in iTunes, so thanks for that. But let's segue into the second section of our discussion now. So that focuses more on Leon's thoughts on where digital marketing's been and where it's heading. So starting off with
software I couldn't live without.
So Leon, what software do you currently use in your business that if someone took away from you, it would significantly impact your marketing success?
Google Analytics.
Okay.
That's the biggest one. Like, I think it's probably because we're a technical company. So there's a lot of things that we just built in-house. Because if trying to use some other third-party vendors might not cut the, might not provide what we're looking for, so we just build it in-house. But Google Analytics is something that we just don't have the capacity to actually build in-house. So Google Analytics is the only one that I use it in and out to see to analyze our visitors, our existing users, and so on. But other things, the other things like maybe like MailChimp, I'm pretty good. I mean, we use MailChimp quite a lot, but not 100% satisfied. I think we can use a different type of marketing automation, but we just don't have the maybe the resources just now to actually go into the different type of marketing automation that is a lot more robust in that sense. But those are the two things that we use most of the time. And if they took them out from us, it's like, what am I gonna do? Google Analytics and
MailChimp, huh?
MailChimp, yeah.
So have you tried recently another analytics software? Like obviously there's some cheap and even free alternatives, or do they simply not offer anything at all compared with Google Analytics?
Yes, I actually have a friend that uses Omniture all the time, and they paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I kind of like get a glimpse of it. And now he told me that Google Analytics have moved so much that a lot of the functionalities and in those hundreds of thousands of dollars software is already implemented in Google Analytics for free. So I wouldn't imagine any other tools out there can do kind of like the same kind of like technology capacity with Google Analytics in that sense. So I haven't really looked for any different analytics. I look at like mixed panels and some other tools, but it's the main part of it, like those kind of like software, either I have to do a lot of customization, which eventually we decided we just build it in-house rather than trying to optimize, using their technologies in that sense. So, but again, like Google Analytics, I haven't seen anyone come close to it in that sense.
Okay. Well, here's a slightly more challenging question. What piece of software don't you use, but you've heard good things about and you intend to try at some point in the near future?
That's the marketing automation thing that I'm looking at. I heard about Infusionsoft and like Marketo or Pardot, but those are a very high level of very expensive essentially. So I am not sure just yet, but the marketing automation is something that we're looking at. Maybe trying to see if we can implement it like this year or next in that sense. HubSpot is also another potential contender in that arena.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting players, certainly. I mean, you see Aweber and MailChimp starting to make inroads now into it, and that's nice to see, because I think for a couple of years the traditional email providers tended to focus on that rather than actually the marketing automation side of things. You've got some cheaper tools such as Autopilot HQ.
Yep.
And Active Campaign that would probably be worthwhile you considering as well. But also, it's worthwhile having a look at even MailChimp Pro, because that's something that MailChimp are launching as well. There's so many options out there. It's quite hard to decide.
I guess that's part of it is the branding thing, right? And I'm a bit fascinated by the power of branding these days. Like, MailChimp, I'm already a customer of MailChimp. I didn't even know that they have this marketing automation. What, MailChimp Pro you mentioned? Um, it's because when I go in and I already am used to it, and I know that people, like everybody's using it for that kind of like marketing list. I mean, email management list more than marketing automation. So I didn't even know that. So yeah, I will definitely check on that because
It's certainly not marketed as a real marketing automation tool, but they're certainly making inroads in that direction. I haven't tried the pro version. I've tried I use Aweber quite a bit. I've tried Aweber, Mailchimp quite a bit as well. I'm not aware of Mailchimp Pro, but it seems like every 6 months there's another great piece of software that comes into the mix. So it's hard to make a decision.
It's true.
But let's just move on to.
I wish I would have.
So I'd like you to look back on the very first day that you were involved in trying to market a business online. What didn't you do so well? What do you wish that you would have done differently?
That's a tough question. A lot, essentially. I came from a technical background, so I'm not that comfortable being in front of people and doing this kind of like public speaking for a long time. So I wish I had a mentor. I wish I had like advisors on this field that can push me a little bit faster or a little bit further in terms of sales and marketing and business building itself, rather than sitting behind the desk and trying to think about possible combination of products and some of the technical stuff that I probably shouldn't get involved as much as I should right now.
I think it's easy as a business owner to spend most of your time doing the things that you're most comfortable doing.
Yes,
it's tough, everyone's like that, and I suppose when you see someone else, or when you're trying to delegate the tasks that you do well, and you see someone else doing them, and maybe they're not doing them to the same standard as you would do them, then that must be really tough.
It is. That's the tough part. That makes you always get pulled back into that same position that you're trying to, delegate, and then, yeah, I totally agree. Especially, like it's part of human mind, I think, to always trying to be in the path of least resistance.
Yes.
So when you're when I'm trying to do some marketing or write blog posts and trying to be out there, I was like, oh man, it took me so long as compared to building a product, and then I just what, let's just build a product rather than writing a blog post or being in a position where you have to do a lot of a public speaking or something like that.
Yes, yeah, but the thing is, the way that content marketing is going, video is so much involved now, and it's difficult, I think, or more difficult now, to really push an online business forward without being willing to actually push yourself forward as well.
Right.
Yeah,
totally agree. That's why I'm here now.
Oh, you're doing a good job. It's the thing is, I mean, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be the most outgoing person in the world. You simply have to be passionate about what you do, and be knowledgeable, and you're certainly that. So
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. But that was talking about the challenges that you've had in the past. Bringing it back to marketing activities in the present day. Obviously, espionage focuses on pay-per-click in terms of helping clients. Does that mean that pay-per-click marketing is your primary focus in terms of marketing activity as well?
For us right now, we're for our business, you mean?
Yes, yeah.
Yes, that's our main kind of like channel. That is the most comforting channel for us. But we are trying to expand our wings to be more, make people aware that we exist, that we have. So essentially, we're trying to get into that awareness level right now by getting on this kind of interview, by doing a lot more blog posts, basically content like that. So that's on one end that that we're trying to do, the awareness level. On the other end, we also are trying to using the same kind of like mechanism, using the content to actually increase conversion in that sense. So yeah,
Okay, so it's more organic content marketing is good to be part of the mix in terms of what you do moving forward.
yes.
Okay, well, let's jump moving on to
The this or that round.
So this is the quick response round. 10 quick questions. Just 2 rules here. Try not to think about the answer too much, and you're only allowed to say the word both on one occasion. Ready to go?
Ready.
Email or Twitter?
Email.
Audio or video?
Video.
Affiliates or display advertising?
Affiliates.
Facebook or Google+?
Facebook.
Online press releases or one-on-one relations?
One-on-one relation.
Paid search or SEO?
Both.
Ooh. Email contact form or telephone number?
Email contact form.
Website or app?
Websites.
Social subscriber or email subscriber?
Email subscriber.
And local marketing or global marketing?
Definitely global marketing.
I think the answer that surprised me the most was paid search or SEO. You picked both. I thought you were going to say paid search all day long, but interesting. No.
Yeah. Well, I think paid and organic is essentially, like they're brothers and cousins, or it's very much similar. Like whatever we learned from Google paid search, that will be implemented on our organic. Because in organic, to find out the result, it takes about 6 months, maybe even more. If you do it right and all the optimization and so on. And then after that, you can start reaping the benefit, and that is if you are doing the right keyword research, right? I've done some kind of like SEO optimization where I thought this is the right keyword, and then when I did it, it wasn't really the keyword that I was, that's not the keyword that my biggest prospect should come from. And then we were just like, man, we wasted this long to get ranked so high on this keyword, and then it got it all wrong, right? I mean, it's not converting. Essentially, we got traffic, but it's not converting. So Google AdWords helps us in really identifying what keywords that's really useful for us to actually do SEO. So that's why. But I think both of them are very hand in hand. Both PPC and SEO.
It's a great way to test to see what works, certainly, as well.
Yes.
Because it was interesting. One of the first online marketing courses that I took was a course called Traffic Secrets by a guy called John Reese, and that was 11 years ago or something like that. And he produced this course, and he was a master of arbitrage, actually, with pay-per-click advertising, and then just obviously having advertising on another site and just making a lot of great money from that. But he was a brilliant digital marketer, and he's still around nowadays. I don't believe he's teaching as much, certainly, as well. One other interesting point in relation to that, I've been to a couple of different Google events, and Google will say it's best to pay for the same keyword that you're ranking number 1 for, because you actually get additional different traffic, and it's not just the same traffic that you'll get. So just because you're ranking number 1 organically doesn't mean that you shouldn't pay for advertising on pay-per-click.
Right.
Do you agree with that?
I agree, and I think for us it's the brand term most of the time, right? Our brand, our own. When people type in espionage, we already rank number 1 on organically, but we're still paying for the PPC because our competitors is trying to like outbid us in that sense. And same thing for any type of your core keywords. If, let's say you're already ranked number 1 for certain keywords, I'm pretty sure some of your competitors will try to top you on that. So you need to top them again by bidding those keywords, and you'll take pretty much like 2 very precious real estate. You sandwich your competitors in between. When you do those kind of like kind of like techniques of PPC. That will increase the trust in user level. If they don't know much about as Google SERPs, they will see it's like, oh, how come this guy is showing up 2 times as compared to the other guy? And you'll increase the likelihood for the conversion on that part. So I totally agree on that part.
But if your brand is trademarked, can you not complain to Google that other people are bidding in your brand then?
Not at all. I mean, you cannot use the trademark term in the ad copy, but you can still use them to trigger the competitors or your
trigger the advert.
competitor.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's
Got you.
yeah, you cannot do anything about that.
That's a bit cheeky, but you can understand why Google want to do it, certainly,
Of course,
from a business perspective. So what about if no one is actually bidding on your brand name? In that instance, if you're ranking number 1 organically for your brand name, do you think it's still worthwhile bidding for paid traffic as well?
The best way to do so is to test it, because if nobody is if you don't have any competitors at all, basically there's a chance that you're just in a very small niche, so you probably don't need that. They're probably, why do you even pay for paid search in that sense? So yeah, you probably have to test it like with or without and see if there's any dent in terms of revenue, in terms of conversion by doing that.
Great advice.
The $10,000 question.
If I was to give you $10,000 and you had to spend it over the next few days on a single thing to grow your business, what would you spend it on, and how would you measure success?
Good question. I think I would hire like a graphic designer and some of the freelancers that I need, like admin, virtual assistant, like that. And just a whole army of them in the Philippines or somewhere that is a lot cheaper, for a year, because I cannot just do it. If you hire them for just a few months, which is, you can, with $10,000, you probably can do that in the US. But if you do it here, then their training is going to be a lot more expensive. But if you can hire them for a year in some outsourced country, like the Philippines and other places like that, they will be able to help you out instead of adding more overhead. So I think that's what I would do. It needs to have some kind of duration, not just like that.
One of the previous guys that I interviewed on Digital Marketing Radio was Chris Ducker, and he's an expert at outsourcing to the Philippines. And you can also use other services like Upwork, and
that's what we use.
That's who you would recommend yourself, would it be?
Yes, as that they provide the perfect reporting system, because one of the challenges of hiring this outsource is essentially like if they're doing your job or not, right? But like using AppWorks, they provide a very excellent monitoring system, so that this person actually working for your task or not, like that. So yeah.
Okay, great tips. But that just takes us on to
my number 1 takeaway.
So, Leon, you've offered a lot of great advice in our conversation, but what's the number 1 takeaway? What's the single most important step that our listeners need to take away and implement in their businesses?
What's the number 1 takeaway? Tough question. I think because there's so many if then, like it depends on your business stage. If you're starting out, then you really need to be able to be out there and then get your brand name, get more traffic to your website first, right? And for anything digital, if you're not in the vicinities of anybody's mind, then there's no matter how great your product is or service is, then it's useless, right? So if you are already in the somewhat middle or late stage, where you already have some kind of visitors, you already have some kind of like visibilities on the internet, I think customer success might be something that you want to really focus on, because the power of word of marketing is the power of WOMA, right? Is that word of
mouth?
Yeah, word of mouth marketing is so powerful. I mean, that from what our analysis, I mean, on our business, is that is like the most converting channel for us, and that is only, you can only get that if you provide a good service or a good product. So it depends on the type of business. You know, you need to kind of like adjust it independently. You know, like if you're starting out, then get traffic first, get more visitors to websites. If you already have a certain websites, do very good at the customer service as the customer success type in that sense.
So you mentioned earlier on Google Analytics is one of your favorite pieces of software. Can you use Google Analytics to measure word of mouth? And
Probably not. Yeah. So in our onboarding process, we always ask people like, where did you hear about us, right? So on this part, we don't get it from Google Analytics. Of course, it's word of mouth. And when one of the drop down, we ask like, you know, did you hear about us from Google, from other channels? And we get about 10%, even more than 10%. I think it's like referrals from colleagues, referrals from other people like that. You know, so we're like, okay. It's interesting, you know, to see that.
That's lovely. And that's obviously a successful business because if you're getting your customers sticking with you, but not only sticking with you, actually recommending their friends and colleagues to sign up with you as well, you must be doing something right. And it's getting tougher, I think, to be a business that produces a really bad product and service, because obviously more and more people talk online now and will share bad as well as good.
Right. Well, that is one of the importance of knowing or getting to know your markets as well, your competitors essentially, because in every situation right now these days, you think that your product is unique, but when you go to the internet, there's always someone else is offering something that is very similar or can be an alternative of your product or service, right? So you really need to think about like, okay, how can I be different? When you're different and when you come up with something unique, I think you know, it makes it easier for word of mouth marketing to happen, because like no one else is doing it, even though it doesn't have to be completely 100% unique, but unique in certain angle is good enough for people. It's like, you know what, that guy's report is a lot easier to read than the other guy's report, for example, something like that, right? That will eventually like, okay, let's refer this guy to my friends as compared to the other guy. Just a slight increment better or unique value proposition as compared to your competitors will actually help your word of mouth marketing, I would say.
Got you. There's too many businesses out there that are seeing something else out there that is successful and essentially just copying it, and then
Right.
wondering why their business isn't a success because it's just a carbon copy.
Yep, exactly. And
Wonderful.
it's rightly so, because you know, like if you think just the big picture, like social media marketing, for example, there's so many you know, agencies or consultants that offer that, right? It's a big umbrella, but everybody else is offering like social media marketing for they manages Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and so on. If you really be specific on certain things, like, you know, I don't see a lot of SlideShare marketing where a lot of experts are actually using SlideShares. But if you just promote it like, you know, if you're a social media marketers, consultants like that, but you said that I'm really good at SlideShares, and these are the proven, you know, you are different in certain angle, but you're still in the social media aspect. Now you're starting to see, it's like, okay, that's unique as compared to other you know, like social media marketers that just focus on Facebook and Twitter, which most of the people are just focusing on those, I think.
That's a great piece of advice as well, actually, because people like Martin Shervington, he was on another earlier episode of Digital Marketing Radio. He just focuses on Google Plus, and you know, he's recognized for that, you know, and he's done very, very well with that, certainly as well. It's funny you mention SlideShare, actually, because SlideShare have been around for a long time,
Right.
and they seem like quite, you know, an old place, but they can drive a lot of traffic. I did a talk about 10 months ago, and just last week I had a look at the slides on SlideShare, and it had 6,500 views, and that's without me doing anything at all to it.
Right.
I'm thinking, maybe I could have actually done something to share it a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I think, like certain, every social media has its own characteristic, right? Slide shares are perfect for someone that really want to show their expertise on something. It's kind of like a B2B type, people just don't go to SlideShare for fun. They want to do for, like want to learn something. So if you have like a B2B business and want to show your capacity of increasing certain function of a business, you want to put it in there, and then it linked up to your LinkedIn as well. And those are, LinkedIn is the social media for professionals. So it matches really well with that kind of like, ecosystem essentially for professionals in that sense.
great. Well, I mean, you've offered so much value there, Leon, so I really, really appreciate that. But I reckon that just about takes us to the end of our discussion. So thank you so much for your time and your advice. What's the best way for our audience to find out more about you and what you do?
I have my Twitter account is at Leon Krishnayana. That's just my personal Twitter account, and you can reach me at LEON at Leon Chris, essentially LEONKRIS at ispionage.com. That's my business email address, and you can also just come to ispionage.com and check it out. And if you like it, you sign up, and you'll get an email from me when you do that.
Lovely. Okay, well, I'll certainly include links to all that in the show notes at digitalmarketingradio.com as well. So great stuff. Thanks to Leon, and thank you, dear listener, too. If you enjoyed what Leon shared today, here's how you can help. Go to your friend's iPhone, go to the podcast app, and search for Digital Marketing Radio. Click on the show and hit the subscribe button and make them listen too. And finally, I'm also host of another live show every Friday called This Week in Organic. So head over to thisweekinorganic.com to find out more about that. But that's all for now. Until we meet again, adios. And thank you again for joining me, Leon. Lots of great information.
Thank you.